Psych 420 in the morning.
Hello, everybody. My name is Brett Nilsson, and today we're going to be talking about the big five personality traits of emotional development psychology. Now, what are the big five? So, personality psychologists, wow, tough word, say that there are five main personality traits that define every individual's personality as they develop throughout their lifetimes. These traits include extroversion, agreeableness, openness, conscientiousness, and neuroticism. Now, I have those highlighted above. So, openness refers to an individual's creativity and insight. Conscientiousness describes how goal-oriented someone is in addition to their thoughtfulness and impulse control. Extroversion relates to how talkative or social someone is. Agreeableness includes trust, selflessness, and empathy. And finally, neuroticism describes emotional instability and sadness. Research, such as that done by McCrae and his colleagues, show that the theory of the big five traits appear to be universal across all different cultures. But specifically today, we're going to be discussing this topic in relation to business owners and entrepreneurs. Why? Because entrepreneurship is a personal passion of mine. I've been running a business reselling shoes and streetwear, such as that from the brand Supreme, since 7th grade. So looking to possibly pursue a career in entrepreneurship after USC as well. So very exciting. This topic with the Big Five has been very relevant today in the media and literature. Specifically, in the media, this topic has been discussed regarding corporations and their processes for hiring new employees. So many employees have begun to require job applicants to actually perform personality assessments to supplement their basic job application to give the employer a better idea of if this individual will be a good fit within the workplace and be cohesive with the other employees. One platform specifically called Tradeify, they use AI to test applicants' personalities. They recently raised $12 million in investments to go forward with this company. They say that in 90 seconds, they can collect hundreds of data points assessing a candidate's personality. And this is predominantly through images. So visually, they can use this platform to identify someone's personality. Pretty interesting stuff. Tests are built off of Holland's interest inventory, which refers to the big five personality traits. So this is very applicable to anyone's everyday life, and you might be personally impacted by this during your next job search, or if you have to seek out a new career. So yeah. So next up, we're going to be talking about a specific research article. Now, the one we're going to be discussing is the Big Five Personality Entrepreneurship Relationship, which evidence from Slovenia. This specific article is published by Bostian and Tonchik, Tina Bratkovic-Krieger, Gangren Singh, and Alex F. DeNoble. And they are some smart cookies, may I say so myself. Now, the aims of their study was to discover if the big five personality traits can psychologically determine one's entrepreneurial startup and startup decisions and intentions. In order to do so, they use a structured questionnaire. The researchers use a random sample of undergraduate and graduate students selected from 3 Slovenian schools. And then because historically in Slovenia, most entrepreneurs don't typically pursue a degree and go to an undergraduate or graduate organization, they sought out additional responses by randomly selecting the rest from a financial report database. They divide the sample in 3 categories: self-employed, people in paid employment, and unpaid family workers. Now, they use cross-tabulation chi-squares tests to find that the 563 responses they received showed no difference between the different samples in terms of age and gender. These questionnaires asked the participants questions pertaining to the personalities, in addition to demographics and the firm in which he or she is employed. They received 546 usable responses. Exploratory factor analysis was done to test each of the 5 personality traits among the individuals, and using entrepreneurship as a dependent variable and each personality trait as the independent variables, they ran a multi-nominal logistic regression. And their findings were quite fascinating. Now, I will show some graphs here demonstrating their findings. First up is neuroticism.
Now, as you can see from this chart that the researchers put together portraying the different levels of neuroticism for the 4 different groups, you can see that non-entrepreneurs, both the male and female participants, demonstrated the same levels of neuroticism, and same with maybe entrepreneurs, but then they suddenly split apart amongst the potential entrepreneur group, where females were apparently demonstrating higher levels of emotional instability and sadness, whereas males were demonstrating much lower levels when they were potential entrepreneurs. But then they meet back in the middle, for those that were practicing entrepreneurs. Now, next for the openness trait, you can see that males demonstrated higher levels of openness across all 4 categories: non-entrepreneur, maybe entrepreneur, potential entrepreneur, and practicing entrepreneur. And they're all demonstrating, both male and females, the same rate of incline as they progress through those steps. And next for the conscientiousness trait, you can see that the male or female participants showed very stagnant levels across the 4 different groups, whereas the male participants showed a slight incline from non-entrepreneur to potential entrepreneur, and then a decline from potential entrepreneur to participating entrepreneur. And next for extroversion, you can see that females, to begin with and throughout, across all 4 categories, showed higher levels of extroversion, but it's very interesting to see that maybe entrepreneurs, potential entrepreneurs, and practicing entrepreneurs all showed higher levels of extroversion as opposed to non-entrepreneurs. Now, finally, for the agreeableness category, you can see that male participants demonstrated much lower levels of agreeableness, and whereas females demonstrated very high levels amongst those that were non-entrepreneurs, and then declined for those that were potential entrepreneurs. Very interesting to see that practicing entrepreneurs actually demonstrated the lowest amount of agreeableness for male participants, whereas female participants, practicing entrepreneurs, still showed relatively low levels of agreeableness.
The big finding that these researchers took away from this study was that the big 5 personality traits can predict emotional startups using openness and entrepreneurial intentions by analyzing extroversion and agreeableness.
Now, I found the researchers' findings to be very surprising, as I did not expect extroversion to be such a large determinant for the reasons that they found, because I consider myself to be much more introverted, and I would have expected most entrepreneurs to feel the same way, because typically when you explore an entrepreneurial venture, you're doing something by yourself, and you later hire a team beneath you. Whereas when I think of someone more extrovert, I think of someone that's more socially inclined and wanting to be around other people. And the findings actually showed that practicing and potential entrepreneurs showed much higher levels of extroversion. Aside from that, I do agree with their finding that openness and agreeableness are big determinants of entrepreneurial intentions and decisions, because in order to make tough decisions, you have to be pretty open to hearing different thoughts and different ideas. Aside from that, I was not expecting neuroticism to have such little impact. Going into this, I would have assumed that neuroticism would be a large determinant for entrepreneurs, because when I think of an entrepreneur, I mean, they're constantly making very tough decisions, and they're constantly on edge, putting out fires within their company, and that can lead to a great deal of emotional instability. Whereas the researchers found that neuroticism was not a very effective determinant of entrepreneurship or of entrepreneurs. The researchers did find that one limitation within their study was that think that a lot of the participants, their traits that they portrayed could have been heavily impacted by their specific environments, meaning entrepreneurs demonstrated certain levels of certain traits because they had to adapt to the environment that they were in and had to fit that bill of an entrepreneur. And same with employees and unpaid family workers. Now, for a future study, I would think it'd be very interesting to make a group of high schoolers that are their personalities are a little more developed, but they still don't have a large idea of what career path they want to take yet. So having them take some sort of personality test, measuring their personality traits, and then observing them throughout their later life and seeing which end up becoming entrepreneurs and which do not, and then comparing those two groups' personality traits to see if certain higher levels or lower levels of certain traits could lead certain individuals to becoming entrepreneurs, whereas a lower level or higher level another trait might lead an individual to becoming a normal employee or an unpaid family worker. That's all I have today, folks. Thank you for tuning in and have a great rest of your day. Psych 420 in the morning.